Okay, hope you can see my screen.
Yeah, I can see you.
So what we are moving on into is something else.
REST
Okay.
API, right? I want this.
API.
I want to
Yeah.
desperately learn this REST API just
Mm,
to understand. And also, I want to know that what is that? So here in REST API, you are going to say how you are going to host APIs, right? Basically, correct?
there are two things. The first part, REST API will learn the concepts and all that. In fact, it will be a review. You done this in Python, but I will review this. First part can be thought of like how to use the API,
Oh,
somebody's API. Now, this
okay. For
part,
Postman and other things.
Django
Oh,
REST,
okay.
yeah, Django REST. I mean, of course, this, okay, let me run through. These are concepts, okay, and review testing whether API, okay. Then JSON placeholder API. Now, when you have to do some data, dummied up data and dummy API is also available. So that's what this is.
Yeah, I've seen some bins. You have some bins.org, right?
JSON placeholder API. You go there. That means the API and the data is free. Some Latin is available. Okay. JSON API is used because anytime you're dealing with APIs, you want to have some free fake data. It's not real data. It's mocked up data. In testing, they call it as mock testing and all that. See, here some endpoints available, like posts, and he's got some 100 posts. So if you go into your application, if you want some posts to be displayed in your application, that you can use it from here. This endpoint will allow you to read that. See, dummied up data, user ID, title, body, the title
there
of
used
the
to be on
post.
bins.org, right? I used to use that actually.
Okay.
For posting and getting also.
Okay. So
so like when from our call flows, right, we do that integration.
I see. Okay. Okay. So this is users, to-dos, photos, albums, comments, all this are readily available. So if you go to this, you will see some random data. URLs of some location they got here, thumbnail. So if I go to this URL, this will show me some picture, random. So it's JSON placeholder, the thumbnail URL. I think this is different.
Sorry.
This is showing, but we can generate random photos. There is one website. I got it. Yeah, we'll look at it, but there's some data and thumbnails available for your application. Okay.
That means what? If you post, you get this return JSON file, is it? That's what you're saying?
If your application, let me take a relevant example. If we learned Bootstrap the other day, right?
Yeah.
Cards, correct? Cards. So this one will let you show that card with this dummy data. That's the image will be dummy, the content will be dummy, like that. So dummy card data. Let me see.
Why?
Not credit card. Three examples. See this. Okay. So here is LA, and this is LA, and some text about LA. There is probably this is Salt Lake City and card like that. Here is New York and the text. So we are dumbing up some data. No? The image came The title, of course, is not come, but the description is like that. So in your data, you could dummy up like this. So this data, the photo and all that are coming from this JSON placeholder. Like that. So that's what this is. Likewise, to-dos. Okay. To-dos are to-dos in Latin again. A list of to-do.
See, Ajay, I still can't wrap my around one point.
Oh, what happened?
So,
Yeah.
so what I'm saying is, see, API either you consume or you host. Correct? That's the only two areas we are talking about, right?
Consume, you host. And when your application needs some, so you built an application which uses
consumes. Or
which has to consume, you need the dummy data. You need dummy data. And these
so which I can parse and all that, right? That's what you mean.
Yeah. So let's say you built a to-do application. You could, I mean, in our Flask example, we put in like read newspaper or, buy milk, buy eggs. We put some dummy data. But it's just you are creating that. Here, he's got the endpoint, he has created the data and kept ready. So title of the to-do. For using it in your for fitting it in your application. See, this is a car. Okay. I have to have some photo.
Okay.
Either I should be a photographer, collect all the photos and keep it, or I need that data from somewhere. So this, when you point to such a location, the photo will come from there.
Oh, you mean that way? Yes. Okay.
The car title, I don't need to type in. It will feed the title. So this data for the metadata for this is available with these endpoints.
Got it. Okay, I got it. Okay. So that's the URL you are trying to type and show. Okay, got it.
That's called JSON placeholder.typeicode.com. So these are giving you the use your own data. That means you're given up some dummied up data. Okay, and your application can use from this location 10 users, dummy users. His address, everything is there, latitude, longitude. Some dummy data is available. Why? That's why it's called JSON placeholder. Some placeholder data. That means it's not real data, but it's good for your application. Here is this phone number, some website. It's not real data, it's fake data.
Okay.
And this data can be used when the API is there. The API is going to use that data. Okay. So with your API, if you're passing a get for user ID 2, it will give you the title of the to-do. Okay, like that.
So that's the part I want to understand. So who is going to send this get? Who is the consumer of that the application?
That application is what you will build.
Build. Yeah, the application which I built. So if I need some dummy API data, I can use these resources. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. So the part what we are looking at is first API, and now for that API some dummied up data.
So dummied up data. Okay.
Yeah, that your application can use. Okay. So this part is about using.
So here application is the consumer of this of these APIs.
Exactly. Yeah. When you say use the API, it's that you become a subscriber to the
subscriber of this. I do an API call and get this.
Correct. Yes. So that's what we are doing. And whether it's a weather API or recipe API, all that is just doing the same. So this part of this JSON placeholder we cover. So this full intro goes like that. Now the rest of it, I mean the topic here, Django REST framework is introducing you to how you can build your own custom API. Okay, so it has topics like serialization, Django serialization, creating a simple API with Django REST framework. Step by step, we'll see how to create any API which you want. See,
basically, the application will host an API endpoint.
Right. Suppose you are providing your own service. Okay. Let's say you started, you're a DJ, you started streaming your own songs and your data, much like Spotify, you have your own collection of songs and you want some subscribers. You are to create an API and give an endpoint for the other services to subscribe. So Django allows you to create your own API. We look at a very simple case of a song database and API with that. That's possible with Django REST framework. Very easily you can do it. Okay.
Okay. Wonderful.
So, okay. So that's what this is. We will cover that later. We'll start quickly with this introduction and then get into it. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So there's one which randomly generates images. I do have, but here he's giving a placeholder. Let's this view source, you can see that. Okay. Okay, so this part of it is APIs integration, testing an API. Okay, so how we use that API. So we also call what's testing the API. So what are we going to look? Introduction to APIs, introduction to some earlier concepts of SOAP. Okay, SOAP standing for Simple Object Access Protocol. We look at REST APIs, then testing an API with Postman, no code, the whole low code philosophy. They have
zero code, no code. We
code.
keep telling that.
Yeah, so this is one site which offers, there are a couple of sites we'll see, wherein you don't have to do any heavy lifting. He's got the API, he's got the code which you want to write in your application. So just that. And integration. Okay. Integration here referring to specific applications. Suppose you have SAP, suppose you have your own application, how you will integrate, how you building another custom application which wants to use that specific service. Okay, so there are some aspects of how you will become a subscriber, how you will integrate, and that's what we cover that. Okay, so that towards the end. Okay, so let's get started. API is an endpoint of the application through which data interchange takes place. So some service he is providing and he is giving a URI or a URL where that resource, you become a subscriber to that resource. So that is a resource and the endpoint is a URI. With that, you are passing some information, a fragment of information, and you're trying to do a HTTP GET. Okay, and the data interchange takes place from the server to the client. So you are a client, that's a server. The API is an endpoint. Okay, API is also called a handle to that service. Okay, it could be some printing service, it could be some currencies rate service, like that. Important. So was earlier in 2000, where internet started making waves. Until then, message exchange happened, okay, as bulky messages, okay, and it's like you wrote a letter, put it in an envelope, and sent it, okay. So the messages were exchanged between uh, applications with
Hmm.
this access protocol called Simple Object Access Protocol, or SOAP. Okay, shortly SOAP. SOAP has messages enclosed in a SOAP envelope. So it's like a letter. You wrote the letter, folded it, put it into an envelope. Okay, the envelope here has
That was
this.
what in what syntax? It is not JSON. It was XML. Huh?
Earlier it was XML messages, yes,
Hmm.
XML, and SOAP header and body. There is a
Hmm.
syntax on that message. Our
Hmm.
SOAP was more rigid because bulky, and if you are making changes to the model, you have to go about figuring out each XML and fix
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I
Okay.
heard a soap in my products.
Uh,
I've just seen in drawings, they say soap. This pipe is soap.
okay.
Like that they will say. But I didn't.
Mm,
I knew that's a protocol. Now I'm seeing what it is inside. Okay,
mm.
okay.
So SOAP API. So SOAP API, even still, SOAP is a standard as well. It still is there. Okay.
It's still
And
there. Yeah,
it's
it's
still
there.
there.
My love. We just phased
Version,
out a platform. In that only I'm saying it is still
uh,
there. Yeah.
okay, version 2.0 or something, 3.0, somewhere they are. So
Mm,
SOAP uses XML schemas,
mm,
okay, and remote procedure calls. So this approach is different. XML being the data exchange standard, one of the standard, even Oracle uses this, and
mm,
a remote procedure calls is like API calls. Okay.
mm,
SOAP messages construct out of 4 blocks. So there is a SOAP envelope. This is purely syntax. SOAP colon,
mm,
there is an envelope, much like HTML. Okay, there's a header and a
mm,
body and a fault. So this is a
mm.
syntax of the message. So there are 4 blocks of a SOAP message. Web service description language. So
Yes, Jill.
WSDL is the endpoint. It's an XML format that describes how the call to that API goes, or call to that web service goes. Okay.
Mm, mm,
Now here, SOAP API looks like this. Here is a request, or a SOAP request, much
mm,
like a HTTP request and a response. They have a SOAP request and a response. So your application is requesting data from another application. So while doing so, you have a HTTP GET, and here it's a SOAP request, which has a single value. Okay, that means an ID is passed. Okay, an ID is passed, and then you're requesting the user, get user for this ID. Get user
mm,
is a function, and you're passing this ID. Okay,
mm,
and then comes get user response, which is coded at the other end. Uh, Whatever data the response is coded with, here username for that ID, it only start, okay, the username comes back. Okay, so simple example for a SOAP request and a response. Okay, and what else here? You have SOAP encoding style, the body. Changes on this is rigid. Okay, so that's why this not the preferred approach. So, and the message could get bulky, cryptic, lot of tags and all that. Okay, there were operational issues like that. So they moved
Okay,
around
okay. And there was
2000.
no encryption, is it, in SOAP?
So can encoding style is there, but encrypted messages, mm, I mean, you're passing data and data comes back. Okay.
You
Uh,
have to believe rely on lower layer encryptions, not on the application layer. Then.
yeah, encrypting a message, you will have to go under the application and do the encryption.
Mm,
Application level, that means if your service is encrypting, then you have that encryption. Then you have encryption and decryption. That means I am sending you let's say bank account information, I would want to encrypt. With encrypt, you encrypt that, and then there's a key to decrypt. Okay, so the common standard there is PGP, which is called Pretty Good Privacy. Okay, which is an encryption decryption algorithm with two keys, a public key and a private key. Okay, so that means you encrypt with a public key, and only whoever has got the private key can decrypt. Okay, or it's the other way. I think I don't recollect, but one key, private or public, is encrypting, and
Yeah,
only
public will encrypt and
public is encrypting. Public key is
public
encrypting, and the other side, that
with the private key will
decrypt.
decrypt. The private key will keep it from the side and keep it.
Right. Yeah.
It's not given to you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's how you are making message secure. So that means the application at the other end should be doing. Here we are just doing a SOAP request and a response. Okay. So that's the data. So this is still there, but it's not popular. So what happened around 2000? One professor, his name is Roy Fielding. Okay, in his PhD thesis, Roy Fielding specified 6 tenets of what's called REST. Okay, that means basically here in REST API, what he said is, okay, here is your client, here is your server. Okay, there is a HTTP URI request and a response. Okay, so you need to have, he just standardized and wrote a paper which became popular. Okay, so what he mentioned was there was a request and a response. Okay, and the response always is like a JSON. Okay, response should not have to hold on to connection information. Okay, so what he mentioned is
Asynchronous kind of
sessions, the server
stateless. Okay.
yeah, sessions should be stateless. Okay, the session management should be stateless. That means between client and the server. Okay, the data of that user authentication data which the client is sending, the server need not hold on. Server need not hold on to connection data. Okay, so that's called stateless. That means another time that service is sick into, you should have to have a separate connection information again. Okay, server need not hold on to the earlier state. That's what stateless is. Server does not have connection data. Okay, so he specified that REST APIs.
SOAP has it, is it?
So always have to okay. If you ask me, without REST, what was the world like? The world has to rely on user's login and a session ID. Okay, the session ID
can expire.
Yeah, which can expire. Correct. So the session ID is what the session management used to have. Cookie, even modern application has cookie, right? So you have a cookie which can time out. Okay, so the cookie has certain duration. It can be up to some 3,600 default seconds beyond which it times out. So then there are other authentication models. We typically call it tokens.
Tokens. Like
Because
what we use.
The token approach is like this. Suppose you went into a, a fair, like let's say you went into Disneyland, okay, a theme park. So you buy one ticket, okay. So that's your ID. So that's like a cookie, okay. So that ID is authenticating every time. So, but when you go in further into that theme park, into Space Mountain or in the
You need one
Indiana,
more.
you need one additional token. Okay, so you will buy that token. So here the approach is similar. So the user login is one time, but there is a service base. If you want to print, you have a token. Okay, and that token is issued by that service, that resource. Okay, so token based. Okay? So server will look at the token. So whenever stateless means the token is for that one entry only. If you consume the token, you have to get another token. Okay? So stateless refers to like for that request of the client, it should have the token. It does not hold on to some earlier login connection. Server does not care about retaining your old login. Every REST API is stateless. Okay. So yeah, so that is one of the things he said. And the response is in, JSON. Response always JSON, most of the REST APIs. You can flip to a application type from JSON to XML or some other types also.
Tell me one thing, what is the greatness of it is not very easily readable. Okay. Why is it, if it is in a tabulated form like a CSV, it is easily readable. What is the advantage of one if it's hierarchical? I understand that. Right? I can have several layers depth of it. I couldn't really appreciate why you need JSON.
JSON is more readable. JSON is readable as against
than XML, huh?
As against this one. This is also readable, but he's wrapped it up in a SOAP envelope and body. It's like saying the HTML is easy or JSON is easy. JSON is easy because JSON just is text information. JSON, here is the JSON shown the name, student, is more readable. That's the only thing about it. Okay. JavaScript object notation popularized by one professor around 2000, John Crawford, some Crop, yeah. That professor is one who sort of popularized the format called JavaScript object notation. Okay. So since then, this is more readable and also it's like a dictionary, key value.
Dictionary format, key value format.
Dictionary,
Right, yeah.
key value. And
hierarchical in that, very, can go depth.
If you see, he's a computer professor. Basically, most modern computing exchanges information in key values. Okay. So this key value manner of exchanging information is used by several algorithms. Okay. It's simply like count. If I say there are 5 apples, okay, apples colon 5. Okay, so it's easy for the human to read as well. Okay, so the data exchange is happening in this key value pairs, and this notation is used by several algorithms. So inside computing, this become more the JavaScript JSON standard. Okay. JSON is a notation simply. Okay. Now further, so there would be HTTP methods get, put, post, delete, which corresponds to the CRUD. Okay, the create, read, update. Create is the post, Okay, for an API, if you have to send the data, you want to create that record, then it responds to HTTP post. Okay, you have to read it, it's the read. Update is a put, though this is sometimes easily a post as well, but put is the actual HTTP method, and delete is delete. Okay. And the other side, you have HTTP status codes, which is on the response. The status codes of success is at 200. The status codes of success is OK is 200. The record created is 201. Some sub numbers of
You get
200.
202 for delete, right? Actually, I've seen that, right? 202.
No,
If you had successfully deleted, it gives a different code.
There are some series here. 200 is success, 400 is error, okay? 300 is redirect.
Same like SIP.
300 is
SIP, we have the same
okay.
Client side error, server side error. 400 is client side error, 500 is server side. 200 is all positive, right?
Right. Yeah, same like that.
But you have anything in 100 series?
100 is not there. Starts here only.
In SIP, we have in 100. 100 is ringing. Yeah. 180 is.
What is that SIP? Spell it?
SIP, SIP for telephony.
No, I am totally zero on that. SIP stands for simple
protocol. Some simple integration protocol, something.
Simple IP.
Exactly. Yeah, it is an inspiration of HTTP only. Okay. So what we used it in, like we had the earlier PSTN, right? You had this SSL, you had what is that for ISDN protocol. So all that has been replaced with SIP. SIP is a very beautiful, simple protocol, really simple, right? You register devices with endpoints with that. That's all. So that's called a SIP proxy, technically.
SIP proxy. Okay.
So you have a phone, that phone will register the SIP proxy. Then SIP proxies will talk with somebody called session border controllers. Okay. The session border controllers will hold the SIP domain, exactly like us domain. So between session border controllers, you will have your pipe. The pipe can go through internet, or that is different. That's how you establish connectivity. And then you can encrypt it on layer 4, that is TLS.
I see. Okay.
So SIP itself does not encrypt. So SIP is application layer only, right? It works on 5060 port. But SIP, you can encrypt at a lower layer, TLS, transport layer security. It's transport layer 1.2. We use that actually. So it's follow the same code, like 404. Like you are reaching, you get 404 means there is some problem in your client side.
Yeah.
If the server is down, page not found is 500 series.
Okay. Here 404 is data not found. Yeah.
Data not found.
HTTP.
Authentication issues 401, right? Something like that. So something you have a problem. That means the guy who is requesting has a problem. But if you get a response in 500 series, then the server has moved. Your problem is okay, but the server has moved, or server has something like that you have, right? Same logic these guys also have. SIP also has.
Okay. I see. Okay.
There is one, thesipschool.com. If you want, there is one, thesipschool.com. The SIP school. I done certifications from there long back, some 10, 12 years back.
Okay, I see.
These guys are paid, but they will teach you really beautiful. Their videos, no? Really, like, for the uninitiated. Like, so I found it very beautiful, this one, thesipschool.com. But it's an old protocol. Right now, you have WebRTC and all that these days.
So here is one difference here. SOAP is built around remote procedure calls, whereas REST is resource based. Resource means basically it's referring to the server, and here is resource based in this case, like get user, and you have to pass that number this is the way SOAP was, versus resource base here is /user/21. This is how the resource base REST will look like. This is SOAP, where it needs a function and the data. Here it's like /user and just the data, the fragment of data, the ID. Okay, so whenever you see like this it means a REST. Okay, so that's resource based. Okay, so that's how the difference is. So REST standing for representational state transfer, REST is resource based like URI, JSON, XML. Resource state is transferred between client and the server. State just simply is data. Okay. Follow, state
So
the
the
data.
RESTful,
Yeah,
representational state transfer is representational data transfer basically.
Representational data transfer. Yes. So,
really?
So
Okay.
then follows rules of REST specification. 6 rules are there by PhD thesis of Roy Fielding. Okay. So anyway, so here it says, okay, some of the things are stateless means server does not retain client data. Stateful means the client doesn't have a direct connection with the server. Okay. RESTful services are layered, having transparency. This is what one of the 6 rules is. RESTful services are layered, having transparency in software, middleware, and hardware. Should be transparent. That means we'll have to specify the service itself will have to specify what is the middleware, hardware layers about. Okay. REST
When you
service,
say server does not retain client data, basically the session details, that's what you mean?
Yes,
Stateful.
correct. Session.
Oh.
That means in your next request, the client will have to come pass his session ID and token ID. Okay. So the rest, for REST services, you will see in a sample like token, bearer token, like that.
Yeah.
That should be there.
That's it. That's it.
You should have the bearer token in every REST service.
That's it. Yeah.
That's how it.
So you do whatever you want before that. Like when we use OAuth 2, we do all that session related everything and get a token. And that token is used at some for the payload.
Yes.
The moment that is that expire, but
it's
it also
over.
expires.
Yeah. Suppose you went through that Space Mountain or Indiana Jones raid, the token is over. You have to get another token, right? To go into that service once again. So that's why server will always expect a bearer token.
Okay. Understood. See, the point is in the new the authentication mechanisms we have, what's happening is obviously you get a use OAuth 2, you get client ID, client secret, you use that and you get your token, right? But the token has a validity.
Yes, validity.
Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. But along with the token, you also get a refresh token, right? To regeneration token, basically. So this token, whatever you get, is valid for, say, example, 12 hours, right? I'm just telling you my application, actually, what I have.
Okay.
So my this one has this token is valid only for 12 hours. But then I can also replenish, regenerate a token by taking a refresh token. Okay. So when I do the authentication on OAuth, I get 2 tokens or two values. One is a refresh token, 2 keys. One is refresh key, other is a token, payload token. I use a payload token and continuously use when after 12 hours it expires. So there it becomes stateful, right? Because it has a validity. And when it expires, I have to go and fetch another, what do you call? I have to go and refresh the token, get a new token, and then I start using the token in the payload.
Yes. That's how it works. Exactly. That's authentication, what you just mentioned.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So in this scheme of things, when you say stateless, means see, I don't think we need to know so much for writing coding and all. It's more a conceptual discussion, right? But now that you are spending time here, I want to understand. When I say stateless, as long as I have the token, I'll get the data. Correct? That's what you mean.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and for the next time, again show a token. That's it.
The next
And get the
time,
data.
the server will want you to have another token.
Another token.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's like the client itself should show another token. Only then the server is going to let you. Think of it like that ride example. That's all.
Right example. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Okay. Next, one more thing you said that REST services are cacheable and scalable. Okay. So one of the 6 philosophies of Roy Fielding. REST services are cacheable and scalable, meaning if your application is going to repeatedly use certain calls, okay, every time you go and do that compute, it's going to take memory, right? So now suddenly so many users are requesting the service. The server is busy computing, then it's going to overload the server.
Right.
So to avoid that, some mechanism is like the most common computed values, you cache it. Okay. So cacheable means the service is allowing you to cache data. Okay.
Where? On the application layer, right? You cache it so that for repeated.
Yes. On the application side, suppose one example of this, or even a mathematical example, is factorial. Okay. Just to get to it, is 6 factorial is 5 factorial into 6.
Into 6, yeah.
5 factorial is 4 factorial into 5. See, so if you hold on the lower factorial values,
from there you pile on.
That's called memoization. But here what we are saying is the computed values, if you keep it in the memory buffer, the server need not come and compute again. Okay. Right. So what he says is in your services, the services itself are cacheable. So that's one method in your application. That is, if you are doing, let's say, some currency conversion or something like that, that service allows you to cache. Okay. And if you wrote those cacheable options in your classes, when you're giving a service, you're going to create your Python class. And so if you are creating the cacheable options in your application, that is better in terms of service and load of the server. Okay. The cacheable is one. So that the application can be scaled up and can handle high volume. Today, Netflix or whatever, millions of followers, millions of subscribers viewing. Let's say they're viewing a very crucial match between Mike Tyson and somebody being beaten. You don't want that service to just freeze. Okay, that means your viewers are watching it. They want the high payload. I mean, at that point, the payload is very high. Okay. So the payload is very high and the service is freezing. You want to cache these, the earlier compute. So that's what to scale and cache. It means that your service be handling with better by writing applications which are cacheable so that you can scale. There are other options instead of, because whenever the server tries to do one type of fetch and the server is busy, you have a repeat after a few seconds, it will try again. That try also holds on the third try again. Okay, so your server is going to repeatedly try, right? You have that built into some of the services, right? So in such cases, it's just creating more and more problems. So then you can control it with some thresholds in your application. When you build the application, okay, you could use some circuit breaking approach, like after some tries, after 3 tries, end the particular retry mechanism, things like this. Okay, to scale up applications, you can, otherwise server would just go into a hang, right? So these are the services. So when the context of this in modern compute is typically modern application architecture, which is called microservices. Okay, microservices is like every uh, time the service is invoked, the service is used, and it's over. Okay, so the microservices architecture is like the client and the service
Pub
server.
sub model, right?
Yeah, client and the service just engages that in a short term and then it finishes. Okay, so for that specific, it could be some print service, it could be some conversion service, or things like that. So
See, when
microservices.
we migrated, we had a legacy platform. In engineering tool, we have come out with a new microservices based architecture. Okay. So where you have all the components and you have a pub sub model, that is publisher subscriber model, right? See, I don't know all this engineering stuff. Okay. We are just on the what do you call, on the functional side, right? We test their product and we just some deliver. We don't get into the engineering of it. So they said these words like microservices architecture, new microservices based architecture,
Correct.
Kafka messaging and whatnot.
The
What is that?
The architecture,
Yeah.
architecture is like when you have take for example Telegram. It's a bot. I mean, it's a mobile app, right? The number of users are very high, millions of users. So he cannot have a traditional client server model, right? So in that number of users, some users will be requesting to chat, other is doing some messages interaction with the bot. The third one could be requesting a print, all that going parallel. So this architecture allows you to have separate services, okay, with this mechanism where the client is requesting a print and that service alone is running for that client another. So it scales up well with this approach, okay. And while doing
Basically,
that,
to address scale, is it? I don't understand much, but to address scale issues, this microservices comes in handy. Yeah.
that is one, but it has its problems. Okay, like if there are too much of service load on one, okay, then there again it has to do some caching and sort of circuit breaking approach to identify thresholds, and otherwise the services are going to overload due to high volume of users. Okay, so the session, so basically the services are handled separately. Okay, and there is another one type of architecture called progressive web architecture. Okay, that means it's a mashup of everything. It's like based on progressive design. Okay, progressive design paradigm comes from building and green efficient building. It's like it involves caching. It involves like the services being cached. It involves the client, the app, and the service. It's a handshake between all three. Okay, the client, your app, and the service and the cache all together are progressive. So one of such a progressive architecture We'll see some architectures, but progressive web architecture, there are some 6-7 points around that. I have it in one of the slides, but we'll go there. So, so basically, in one of the approach of building an application, okay, you determine what type of architecture you want at a high level. Okay, modern software has one Amazon Lambda. Okay, Lambda based on
Amazon serverless boxes,
serverless
right?
compute. Yeah,
Serverless compute. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a modern architecture where Amazon Lambda is like the gateway. It doesn't care where the server is, right? So that means you give the info, it's not connected, it's just a compute and it's connected to some server at one point, another server, another point, it goes like that. So Amazon Lambda is one of the serverless architects.
Yeah, the Google Cloud, Google Functions. In Google Cloud, it's called Functions.
Functions, huh? Okay.
Yeah, we use that actually.
I see. So that's some of the modern
actually, that's more expensive than you buying a server. But if it's for like small ad hoc, it's better, cheaper.
The current paradigm shift is on to they moved away from all these, and what's happening now is based on work delivered. See, I'll tell you very briefly my understanding. One is earlier you got a login and you said, okay, I got access. Then it got into a level like you're given some service and this sort of microservices and token based and all that. The most modern ones is based on unit of work delivered. That means, see, the pricing model came down to number of, let's say, one of the examples could be number of resumes processed. You could be, earlier you were charged for the login. Now they shifted to charge based on pay as you go. That means if you're using only, you pay. Okay. Now even most modern ones shifted to based on work delivered. Okay. That means if you delivered, you got the value. Okay. You got your resumes, 100 resumes processed, then here is a pay. I mean, the model has become more and more in terms of units of work completed. So meaning the pricing model is shifted. Earlier you got a login, I got a subscription, it's just a login. The next model was pay as you go. Okay. And once you pay something and as you go, maybe it's a monthly or then you look at AI, it's based on hours used. Based on hours used. Okay. Because the whole compute is so costly. If you have to do 10 epochs on a AI model, that model is provided through this service. It's per hour of that service used. Okay. So then you're able to get to some performance and that's priced. So it's either per hour of service use or per unit of work delivered. Okay, number of resumes process. It's got to that level of pricing models because it's costly at the when you speak in terms of AI. Anything AI is costly, and it takes hours to even train models. Okay, yeah. So that's one of my relative. I met him recently also. He's saying like it's very costly for me to run on a GPU for image processing. So it's going to take some 4 hours or even longer, okay, 4 or 12 hours or whatever you're saying. So that's longer, and it takes GPUs and it's costly. So they are charged based on hours of service used. Okay, so that means I bring in so many pathological images of the cancer, and I'm going to train the model. So when I train the model, the GPUs of the server, cloud server are used, right? Here, he is not going in that manner. He is having his own model which he has built. And when it is to train, it will run on GPUs. Okay, so that runs, it takes hours to complete. And so if you look at the pricing model on the cloud, you will see then charged like GPUs per hour of usage. Yeah. So it gets costly on that as well, because it runs for 12 hours. It could be charged by the cloud provider at some cost. And it is it's crunching images at, in terms of cancer images to build the train the model. So we were talking earlier, the more
I remember.
the more in training, the efficiency or the accuracy of the model in terms of the test data or the sample data which you are going to give next. Okay, the next epoch or the next fresh data you're testing the model with, the model will be more accurate. That. So RESTful services are stateless and uses token. Okay. Sometimes you will see token and access key. So things like that. But token based, bearer tokens is where it is. Okay. So these are some of the examples are Weather API, Recipe API, No Code API platform. Other platform like API layer is good. Okay.
So you said no code API, right? What's it? That's nocodeapi.com.
No Code API. If you go to nocodeapi.com, what he has done is pretty simple. He's taken some of the service providers, what we have recently, like it could be some currency conversion, the end to end, the source to target. Maybe you are trying to convert from simple example is like Excel to a data dictionary. So one form to another, or you have some users.
You can send it here. You can send to these guys, and they will convert.
Connected. Yeah, let's go even there. It's interesting.
Yeah, I just maybe I have to set up a login.
Yeah, it asks a login, but your Google ID would be sufficient.
Good, yeah.
API. Yes, normally you'll have to, when you test, you have testing tools like Postman. But Postman got outdated with this because it's got its endpoints, and basically he's got a marketplace where he connects several endpoints. Okay. So CSV to JSON. Okay. So that's one API.
Super.
Okay. And here.
Where did you go? Show me a CSV to JSON.
Marketplace.
I'm in marketplace. I have to search basically, I think.
Yeah, you would see.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. Convert your JSON the same way from the other way also, right? JSON to CSV.
Yes. And so many other endpoints. Okay. To mail. So these are all the different currency exchange being one of the common. Okay. So you given one input rate and then the other rate comes off in the target currency. Stripe, get the Stripe data without any coding. So endpoint is there. So Twilio for SMS. Okay. So GitHub.
So what you have to do is you have to create a API, is it? You have to create a name. That's it. It'll in the backend. He's hosting.
Okay, let's take Spotify. example.
Okay.
Okay, Spotify is a large collection of songs and
Yeah.
various artists. Okay, now he's got API and he's got several APIs. Okay, so if you go in, you'll have some description information of that API as well. Okay, so some documentation very nicely. Get
For me,
started.
I actually see activate button. Why don't you see it? Oh, you're not logged in because of that. Okay, okay.
Yeah, I'm not logged in. So
I have to just click activate, huh?
activate.
Get
If
Spotify
you
metadata about music artists, albums, and tracks directly from the activate catalog.
So here you can. Now let's go to the docs.
Okay.
So here he gives you most of the information of the docs, how to use that API. It has got a queue object. That means a query what you want. Okay. Approach. He builds one URL like this. You're right. Okay. So Spotify token, username and a token, a request parameter. Okay. Now some examples would be there. All these are parameters.
Okay. So with this, what can I do?
So here on the left side, he's got various things you can do. You can query for artists. You can see their tracks. You can create your own playlist.
Okay.
So I will okay, because if you put that endpoint, it will give you tracks of that artist. It will allow
Will it
you
stream
to.
or it'll just
Hmm,
it's just a catalog browser?
no, this is a catalog,
Hmm.
but it gives you code fragments to readily start. That's all it does. Okay, so if you subscribe to it, you can use it. But here, let's see. I have it in some slides also. No code. Let's go there because see, it comes up like this. I did capture some slides. Just hold on, because for us to log in, it will. Yeah, once you log in, okay, I am showing you a screenshot. Okay, so this is a currency endpoint. Get rates is there, and you can get to readily have this parameter input output all are available there. Okay, so currency conversion, you put the amount from and to. So let's say you give 100 and from INR to USD, it can test the API right there. Okay, so this is my key, but that was what I use as username. So it gives one screen to test that API. You will get a HTTP response back like this. Okay, and this endpoint gives all the currency rates for USD to whatever the other currency, a list of all the rates. Okay, so that's what this currency conversion does. So when I have to use it in code, a code snippet is readily available. You don't have to bother about writing the code. You can lift the code from here and put it into your application. Of course, these usernames, you have to make it a little more secure. Okay. That means you don't expose this in the URL. You keep it in a key and you call it like that. Okay. So this code is readily available, be whichever be the application. So that's all to this. Okay. So just one example with the currency rates I showed. When you log
Let me
in,
explore this.
yeah, you can explore for the other
Yeah, I
ones.
was trying to check some stuff, but basically it has to be Spotify. Okay.
Spotify means
Okay.
uh,
Okay, I'll do some.
okay.
I'll spend some time. No problem.
Even I found one more called API layer, quite cool. Okay. Discover integrate APIs. These people also have similar capabilities like no code. I found you can go into this as well. This is similar to no code, but they are pretty good as well. And let's say start building. Keep some sample data just to learn in this one. Sample, right. Sample data. Sorry. Because you have to pass some IDs to track your specific.
So basically it generates you a code snippet, which you can embed in your code to consume something from an published endpoint. That's all.
Exactly.
Okay. Got it. I tried CSV to JSON. It just gave me a code in Java query. I can jQuery. I can also do it in Python if I want, right? And then I just have to just embed it. Okay. I get it. Like
you can directly use it into your.
So that even Postman gives, right? Exactly same thing.
Yeah.
Only thing is I don't understand how app. No, what is this space called? It's called no code API, right? Okay.
No code. Yeah. No code API.
It's the same like a JSON, right? Basically.
Yes. The content is the same.
Content is the same, but I think it is. It has an edge in the sense like it is having a library. It says okay, Spotify, this, that, everything, right? JSON Postman does not do it.
Yeah, in the absence of this, developer was struggling. That's the only thing. Just one more. In the absence of this, one has to write one's own code. One has to build your own testing. Postman was the only other option.
Oh no, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that way.
Like our website, webex.cisco.webexcx.com. There also we have they basically look at all these and they are inspired by this, I think. There also, you just click, I'll get you exactly like this. I'll get a code again in Python or JavaScript, Node.js, and then I can embed it wherever I want.
See, I logged in here, API layer, okay, marketplace. See, they nicely categorize all this. Now some AI ML I'm seeing. Exchange rates, okay. And somewhere here you can search for the API. So Spotify. Okay, Spotify API used to be there. There it is now. Or food is there. Okay. Scraping API, sports, security, news, geolocation. Let's see what we have. Search for something important. For marketing, security. Food I use from. And 9 on food are there.
There is some presentation API. Oh my God, it can. Presentation API leverages AI to simplify presentation creation.
Here is a list of all of them. I think I'm having some. This is just filtering. Okay. It's just filtering. Okay.
Yeah, I clicked on AIML. I saw one thing called presentation API. Either I should retire or work 48 hours a day. The world has gone several steps away.
This is one thing. They covered endpoints in a way that, okay, you can use it readily. And I did use this for, let me see. I did use this for Spotify. That's what I was wondering where it went. Image upload, image detection. What's this one? Search APIs. I've used it for Spotify. I don't know why it's not coming
No
up.
worries. I just need 48 hours a day. No, 72 hours a day. That's all. So much of stuff here to try.
That's there. And add some data. So what it will do is if you get to your particular, just give me one moment. I will pull up the data so that we did the Python program on this. Yeah. Because I had the specific user's ID and all that. What? I mean, if you're on a headphone.
No, I'm on headphone only. Yes. What's
Is
happening?
it too loud? When it
What loud?
no, right? It didn't sound the noise so loud because it's when it doesn't find something, it just gives a sound out there.
No. I didn't hear anything.
Oh, you are not hearing it. Okay, okay, that's fine. And then those sometimes when you search a file, it doesn't give. Your computer just goes with the sound. I thought it's audible to you as well. Okay. I will check that because with Spotify, or we'll just take one sample. Finance.
I'll try, Aji. I'll try this. No worry.
Currency. Currency.
I'll try.
Okay. So exchange rates fixer. Okay, I'll view this. Subscribe to this. Manage live demo. So if I go in here, you see the endpoint now is giving me this user interface to test it. Okay. So if I put latest currency and I want GBP, INR, USD, I can test it by running the code. So the code is there. You can test the API. Okay. So when you test the API, it gave the response back. So €1 is so much pounds, 89 INR as we speak. Okay, this is the latest info. And your code, so this was the output. This is basically a test. Okay. So if you want to test another API, you can pick a different endpoint. Each of this is a different endpoint. Okay. And they are allowing you in different languages. Suppose you're building your application in Java, there is Java. Python. So no code here refers to you can just use this code directly. That's what the other folks are also doing. Okay. That means
But isn't it a very small marketplace? Like There should be, what I thought is there should be tons of APIs in the world, but maybe they are not free. That's why it is very less, is it?
The API marketplace is something, but not everyone is available in this platform. Yeah, this platform, not everyone. So here, suppose I pay $100 from QR to USD, like that. Okay, on a specific date. Okay.
Oh, it can go back in the past also. Huh? Very good.
Yeah, yeah. So it's showing some default date. So on that day.
Wonderful.
On
From
that
this kind
date.
of place only we use only one. Like we want real time. Like what we want to, like in contact center, callers will call, right? So when they call, we want to know from where he is calling based on his phone. Then what's the time he is calling in from? What is his local time, right? So I remember I have built one application for that.
Okay.
We use some endpoint like this, but it was not on API layer, basically directly from that holder. I would have to check that. So the moment you take the number, you take the area code, as a mountain time zone or this time zone. You put it, get that information.
So, yeah, we can test the API and then use this fragment into your code. So that's how this works. Okay.
So he's just giving you a code generator for this one for this. Okay.
A
Now
UI, a UI where you can comfortably test the endpoint. Much like Postman. Postman is also doing the same only, but here is more convenient.
Marketplace. There is no marketplace. That's the point. Postman doesn't have a marketplace.
Yes. Yeah, that's true.
But there's no Spotify in API layer. Huh?
Spotify is there. I used it. I had used it before.
I searched, but they've taken it off. How does this? Okay.
Possibly. Because I've got data where I checked Taylor Swift songs, all that will come here. Developers need these sort of resources. The marketplace. Spotify was there. I don't know whether some things are on and off the list here. Security scraping. This is a web scraping. Most of the applications will have their own. Okay. Domain name, email, then Spotify I've used from here. Sentiment analysis. It's nice.
So there is a noise destroyer also. I can send a voice file and get some filters out. Oh my God. So then it has to be a post. I have to post.
Denoising one.
Noise destroyer.
AIML presentation would be third background. I think background remover.
This is noise destroyer.
Spotify they removed from here, or it's not in the marketplace. But if you go to Spotify, that endpoint is there.
In the other one.
Yeah, I had tested it and it worked well.
So what did you test? What did you actually test?
I found out Taylor Swift, albums, and if you give a specific album, it'll give you all tracks. Okay. And if you give the song ID, all the information of details of that song will come. If you go to Spotify itself, you will.
Okay, got it.
I think they themselves got
but
an
it won't
example.
stay. Okay.
You can get there. See, yeah, you have to put a developer login in Spotify first. Okay, I did all that. Okay, and so okay, A.R. Rahman, right? You go into normally if you create a login here, you can have your own playlist and your own songs and all that. It plays, but that's not our point here. We go to developer. Dot Spotify.com. Yeah, web. Spotify for developers. Here there is how, yeah. This showing the tutorial here, and he himself has got the endpoint here. Okay, so you can try it. Okay, let's go ahead and Google account. Not letting. Normally everything would authenticate with Google, but for a moment, if you see what he's saying, you can search something and try it. Okay, request sample. Request sample is like that. Response is like that. Then you can change this endpoint. This is song searcher, something like that. Okay, this is song search that's mentioned here. Search is what is given, right? Now albums, get album tracks. All these are API artists, get artists. Okay, so there's an artist ID you have to pass. Right, right. Yeah. Every time it's coming back here to log in. Did log in, I use it. Typically same approach here. Every endpoint, let's go to the documentation of this. Get track. So get track. See, for a moment, bear with me, because here the ID is showing a sample. He's showing the sample. I used to keep the ID for Taylor Swift song or Nickelback. That artist will have artist ID. Okay. And that track will have a track ID. Like that. The album will have album ID. So if we give that information and the market here, you get a response like that. Okay. In the response, what you get is ID, image of the track. So if we go to this, that particular label of the track will show in a photo like that. He gives artist information. So the data is available with Spotify. Okay. And the endpoint allows you to fetch that data. If you are to show this artist and this songs, it will show that particular list of artists' songs. Okay. So every API, example, Spotify ID, and this is a sample image. And you put it on the web, it will point to some image. Some single, okay, some image of that particular album is there. And inside there are tracks. Okay, tracks. Every API is there. Tracks API, playlist, songs. Search for an item. Type remaster is what we searched, no? Limit and offset. So here is this query. It's taking something is gone. So when you search, no, you can search a type and search a song. You know a song. Yeah. In search an artist, get the artist's album. How many you want to, like that you could try, and it will return that value. Again, particular song name, let's say a song name. Star. Okay, some song name. It is a track. It will get detail of that song, and you can go to different markets. This market is like which, whether it's UK or whether it's US, like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Songs by genre available. Okay. Albums used to have this is a specific album name. Get album. So what is that? Spotify ID is there, but album type, whether it's a single. Which year, which month it was released. All this data is there. Okay. So, I mean, one login is, it was Google authenticating with Google ID. I have it in Python. I used to show that in the hands-on. Looking where it. Yeah, I will find it out. Basically, it lets
It's
you
okay. I
drill
see.
down. You get it, no? It lets you drill down to a specific song. It'll have this song's label, much like what you see on Spotify. Inside your application, you can bring all this. This image you can bring, okay? The song's data you can bring like that. That's mostly what you do. You open Spotify, you have your own playlist, right? So let's say AR Rahman is here, okay? You can create your own playlist, okay? And then the collection of songs are here. You can add to your playlist. Now, with this, if you want to bring into your application your playlist, you can do that. Or that sort of APIs are available. Okay. So then it's a particular artist, and you can fetch a song and bring that into your application. The application can show similar to what you're seeing here. Okay. So let's say this information, this all data is available. Who is the artist? What is the detail of that song? So that particular song, duration, the year, all that data is available. That's on whether you play that song, then that audio has to run. I've not gone into that distance, but basically, when you're using the Spotify service, you have authentication. Hold on. You see, I had the deck and placed it. What used to be part of it's outside. What is here? See any other author? Because I used to collect that and authentication. Solar API. Yeah. Placeholder. So, I think the data is sitting somewhere. It's not able to fetch it. Because Nickelback is the artist, his songs, and you can test it from inside. I think the login, much like here, much like what I showed you in API layer. From API layer, I was able to do Spotify. I think they've taken it off now. But otherwise, if you log in to Spotify, Spotify has good way of even tracking how you can use it. Same way, see, he's showing the request and the response. And you can test it from inside Spotify. Each endpoint has got what are the in parameters, what is the sample here. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's given. And for Spotify,
I'll try on YouTube Music because I have account on YT Music, but I think there is no published APIs for YouTube Music, if I'm not wrong. So we have to try something
music,
else.
is it?
Hmm. I have only account there. That also I don't want to. I want to leave. $20 a month. So waste of money.
Any YouTube channel like that he's got.
I once let me check on ChatGPT.
Is this going to help? Any YouTube channel
No.
top 10?
He says YouTube does not offer official public API. However, developers have created an unofficial. Okay, one notable is YT Music API library of Python. Installation, install the library, setup to, so you, I think you have to, when you log in, right, you get some token. So that token will come on the, you have to snoop the browser logs and get that token. I think something like that is saying.
Same approach only. See, everywhere there's API key. So YouTube would have given you API key. Then that specific video ID. You see this? He has got one. Okay. So he's got one. He's subscribed for free. Let's say subscribe.
You can add it to the playlist, I think. That's all.
Okay. He's got
Search
some
for a
pricing.
song. Okay.
Got some sample is shown here. Okay. You can try this. If this showing is like a custom API, if you know your video ID, you can test it out. Documentation is here. Some documentation is here. This is what you get back. So in this, what API would give any YouTube channels top 10 most viewed videos. Quite useful, no? if you have to bring your own videos, counts, likes, comments into some application, could use this API, and he is allowing you to test it with this. Okay. The sample is shown here. If you pass this, you get this response. Video ID.
So he's saying the same thing. So you get the video ID, and then you can build your playable URL. So that URL will get this approach, and then you have to also install, import this guy. Use metadata to play song in media player. You have to import a media player, VLC media player, and then you stream. So that is, you want to do it in a PC. You want to run it as an application, right?
Yeah.
So if you
whole idea is about making it available into your application.
Into our application, that's
yeah.
right.
Whatever you're building, you can use these endpoints and code, and for that the sample code also is shown.
Yeah. Perfect. In fact, this guy is so beautifully, this ChatGPT, oh my God. I don't know where are we heading then. It answers everything. Ajay, I'm feeling insecure actually.
Not to, because see, the more here is something which will put you at rest. The more complex the software goes, okay, the more complex its bugs. Okay. So as long as this paradigm is there, human will be there. Nothing is self-healing. We call self-healing systems, then they'll heal themselves. Okay. That means the bugs created by them will be solved by themselves. But we're not yet come to that point. So as long as we are there, the more advanced software do not scare you. Okay. The more advanced
what it does is, whatever I would have run around and stressed out and learned in 2 days or 3 days, it just gives in few minutes. Right?
That's available at the fingertip. That's good.
Fingertip. That's
which
good.
is only, I would say that which is helping you with the knowledge and the artifact. The knowledge and the artifact will help you resolve, okay, which is good. It's all good. But who will have to resolve? The human only will have to resolve. Okay, we are not taken it that far. Right? So what I mean to say is, as long as the bugs are complex, the human is in place, in demand. Okay. See, automation doesn't mean that human is thrown off guard. Okay. Of course, some type of functions are no longer there. Okay, redundant. But I'll give you a real example. One of the companies I support, they automated. Okay. But they thought everything will work automatically. No, it is not that. So it is that your certain percentages of activity can be automated and sometimes exceeds the human's capacity to perform that job. And if you take one example they ran into is the use case of inventory. Okay. Inventory, they automated and said, oh, we have a problem. Okay. The entire the key people of the org are in the call. I bring in some 5 to 6 of my people also on the call. What we find out is system is all automated, but they are not physically done the inventory check. Understand? If you automated, you only got everything to do automatically, replenish and all that. But somebody has to go do a physical inventory check. If you see, for example, take the context of your own home. I might have, take one example, let's say some vegetable or eggs for that sake of discussion only. Okay. I have used 6 eggs. Okay. So, or I bought a dozen eggs. I used, let's say 10 of them. So 2 will left. This physically has to be checked, and the system has to be updated in sync with. Then only you can automate. If people have not done that, okay, I bought 12 eggs, I consumed 10. So in the system, you have to go update. Now, my current inventory is two eggs. Okay. If you did not do that manually, no level of automation can help you. Okay. So manually in ERP systems, the quantities have to be kept in physical inventory adjustments. What we call adjustments is to adjust the system to the stock. Okay. If the stock is lower, then you have to go update that. Okay. So human intervention is still required in this scenario. You have to automate it, then you have to have some cameras, take an image of the eggs basket, like a vending machine or wherever, no, where the eggs are
Some
kept.
IoT.
Some image processing of that has to be done. You count the number of eggs. Still, you would say that this is how to automate 100%. Even then, you'll have to have the discipline of placing the egg. You can't have robots placing the egg. Even if you do so at a controlled manner where image processing is there and image counting, AI can count the number of eggs, all that is possible. Then you have to prep up, and not everybody is there yet, right? So that's what we are seeing. Most common, the small business whom I talk to is like they automated, they left, and the problem they ran in, the wake up call came from the MD directly to me. Ajit, we're hitting negative inventories. And I looked at the system. They opened the Odoo inventory system. They're showing everywhere negative, negative, negative. That means the human has not gone and checked the stock.
Itna dumb hai kya? So dumb, guys.
So they said automation. Okay, automate. I don't want to look at it. And
Come on, man.
the guys who are inside the IT, I will show you screenshots. The inside the IT, because as we did the session, I took some screenshots.
You want to stop recording?
It's okay. Yeah.
It's okay. Okay.
So here is support, right? So I called it support because these guys, with the permission, I got into the session. Okay. We recorded the whole session at the other end also. Okay. I mean, the whole meeting is recorded when this happened. So here are the team which went in, and this lady is the MD. My other team folks are there. I'm here. Okay. And we say, okay, open the system. Here is their inventory. Okay. And you would find negative inventory. Right on there. Everything is negative. On-hand quantities are negative. Never in any situation of an implementation you hit negative. Okay. So, but these guys said everything will have to be automated and all that. And so they left it like that. And there are in-house team sitting and monitoring. They don't know what the problem is. Okay. This is a company. Okay. So the problem is that we think the automation, and it's overrated. Okay, it's overrated so much so that we find it. Once you automate, everything will be solved. The problem is we think it's 100%. No, it cannot be. It needs that human IT guy to sit and monitor. One, it needs a monitoring. Two, it needs a physical. Somebody, like if you look at Michelin, you go across a huge yard, walk miles, and take stock of things. Okay, even to pick things, you need some automated robot to go pick it up or whatever. So, I mean, so then it comes to the large corporates who can implement systems, but the small ones suffer this sort of problem.
Like this, Amazon was my customer in Seattle when I was in West Coast. So I'm telling you, in 2016, 17 only, they had 16 only, they had robots which are actually picking up stuff and putting in the warehouse.
Amazon.
And we gave Wi-Fi. We didn't supply robots. Our antennas are the Wi-Fi endpoints. Cisco. The full Wi-Fi design is by us. Okay. So that even a small error, small outage in one corner for some time, that puts their robots out of business for they start saying it's like millions of dollars for even for a few minutes of loss.
Yeah, so that's sort of costly for large corporates which are moving stuff, the supply chain all across, right? So what I'm getting to is a point that as long as the complexity is becoming more and more, this is the paradigm. The more complex the software, the more complex the bugs are, and you need more advanced people to handle and resolve such issues. Okay. Otherwise, it's a wake-up call in the middle of nowhere. Suddenly, one call will come. Hey, I'm in a distress situation. Yeah? Panic button. And so actually, it's important to maintain. Okay, it's important to keep systems in sync with the physical inventories, or in this case, what I gave example. So my thoughts is AI can only to the level of degree to which it has been automated. Now, of course, the advanced cutting edge of advance is moving further, okay, but not the mainstream is still not catching up so fast, okay. We probably are in some advanced level to some degree in certain systems, but we are not sort of plateaued it past the hype cycle. Okay, because past the hype cycle, it will plateau. Okay, that's how now today we are using computers as against some 50 years ago, right? We have plateaued it to level that you can buy a very good advanced compute, which was not available 20, 30 years back. Okay, so that's the AI is still not plateaued to that. It's only up the hype cycle. Okay, it's what we discussed in the last session also, right? The hype cycle. Right? So once it plateaued, then the cost effectiveness comes, and it's still evolving. The cost side of it's still evolving. Like I said, the charges are now based on units of work delivered. Okay, it's no longer subscription to a monthly or anything. It's like hourly usage. Okay, paper use is this model now based on based on the value delivered. That is sort of like per hour basis. If it's AI, it's per hour of compute used. If it is some result-based KPIs, it's per unit of work delivered. They kept it that to the latest level of pricing models. So we will. So JSON, the next part of it was the JSON placeholder API, right? I talked about this. These are some of the endpoints and this URL. Okay, this is a dummy API for developers having no registration, no need to register anything. Data is available for freely. And from the no code, you can even get this sort of, see, this is a URL for to-dos. And with one ID, this URL goes through a request get, and you get the output like this. Title completed, false. And the response status code is 200, success. So response.json will get you this output. Okay. The JSON get. So again, here in this case, you're passing some parameters as a dictionary. ID and user ID together are passed. Okay.
I've used this in many of my script snippets actually.
Okay.
So this part I am little familiar.
Okay.
Along with the.
So here is a post. So URL is to-dos. endpoint. I've got a specific to do. User ID I'm passing, a title by chocolates, completed false. So then request.post JSON and that particular object, the to do is passed directly. The dictionary is passed directly. And then the response comes ID status code 201. After creating, it gives you this 201. For query, it's 200. For after creation, it's 201. Created, completed. So these are some of the JSON placeholder APIs. So just quite getting back to where we started. We talked about API concepts. Okay. We looked what is a REST API. Testing, we got to some API like and there is also a edamame site. I want to show that. It's also an interesting. We look briefly at JSON placeholder API. Edamame is a dish recipe database. It's these people have gone behind picking up recipes and okay. So if I search for salad, there it brings all the. Hold on, let me move this. So this is a card. You see, each is built the website with this cards. Okay, the bootstrap card. The image is there. The recipe name is there. Calorie information, ingredient is there. Okay. So this is an application development example, very nicely there. So if you search for some recipe, everywhere, what all recipes which is a salad is come. If I search for, let's say, carrots, all the carrot recipe. So it's like a database. He is using an API in the background. Okay. And when you click on this, let's take some chicken salad. Okay, some fennel and orange salad. Okay. Some additional information. Yeah, some additional information like what are the ingredients, what is the nutritional value, okay. Fat is how much, carb is how much, all that data, vitamin C, phosphorus, zinc, all that information out there. How to prepare is also there. Instructions on dish preparation. Okay. So this level of info is there. And he gives that endpoint as a developer API. Okay? So this, if you go register with them, I've taken, yeah, you have a food database and nutritional data. These are APIs, recipe search APIs, and food database API and nutritional. And a sample is what we just saw. Okay, all three together is put in this one as a sample. You can build an application like this. Okay. So basically, when you are doing this, let's say, one moment, mushroom. Okay, I just search one. It will search all the mushroom recipes. Okay, mushroom, whatever is there in the world. This is real data. Okay, this is not fake data. This is real data, and it is going to let you. Okay, here is a mushroom miso mushroom burger or mushroom soup or whatever. All of them is available. Japanese node. You look into it. Ingredients, nutrition. This is coming through with the API preparation. All that. You can take a developer registration here, and then you can use the API, build your application similar to this sample. That's what it's about. Okay. Suppose you are having a hotel and the hotel needs to have the recipe information shown, you can pick from here. Okay, that's one of the examples which you might use. Okay, or you're having a food delivery app. Okay, you want to take orders, you want to show some images and the recipe, you can show the recipe from here. Because these recipes are, I mean, the way that particular dish is. Okay. Okay.
So what do you want? You want me to try these things or as a homework or what is that? I typically have made some small, like, generate that API. I embed it in what is that? I embed it in my script and I use that to post into my WebEx. So my WebEx contact center chat, right? They have a lot of APIs. Okay, so I pull this data, I push, massage it, and then I have to give my weekly reports, right? So I just do that. I have done some integration wherein I'll consume this data and I'll then post it in my WebEx space.
You can try if you want to. Okay, you can try something like this. This I showed in my React course. Basically, we're taking a recipe field and a button. Click on it. It'll do a search. Use the API. And then we're building cards like this. So here the banana, all the banana recipes, banana smoothie, gluten-free banana pancake, with the ingredients, the calories, the image. This can be built. Okay. So this is a sample which I built for the React course.
Okay.
This
I think I have to join the call now. With my India team.
Okay. So we'll
I'll
wrap
jump off.
it up. Yeah, we'll wrap
it
this
up,
part. Yeah, and the rest is I think with which we will see in the next Saturday session.
Okay. Saturday? Okay, no problem.
Okay, so we just come through this part.
So what do you should I spend time on API building or should I study the Django, the first two modules which you taught me for that class? Which is more?
This you can do at your pace. No worries.
NBT.
Yeah,
okay.
That form you can do at your pace. This is just I would say we just refreshed some things.
It.
Yeah. What you sat through is sufficient. Here is where the build happens. Okay.
Build happens, right? Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, if you want to build something, we can.
No. I want to wire it in a. I have built many such apps. I can show you some snippets some other time. I will a few of these. As I told you, right? Smartsheet, you know, right? Smartsheet has a API. Okay. So I have used my scripts to consume data from Smartsheet, do some group by massaging and all that, and then I use this NumPy or all your display variables and push it in the WebEx. My WebEx has APIs. So you can post into specific rooms of WebEx as reports.
As reports, okay. So you want to show what you've done? That's also fine. We can review that.
Yeah, I'll pull those old programs and I'll keep it ready. It may not be working, some token here and there expired, but I can explain to you what I did.
Okay. No problem.
I can show you that Python. I'll bring it up next class.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll start DRF, right? Next week, next class.
We will start DRF next class. Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
Done.
All right.
Done.
Okay. Thank you. Good night, Prabhu. Yeah. Take
Good night.
Good night.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks. Bye.